there, everyone. Welcome into another edition of Player Spotlight. Today, I've got one that I've been looking forward to for a while. Support for Radiant's Aror joining us here on the show. And Aurora, you and I have talked about Smite a whole lot, have gotten a chance to develop a good friendship, which I'm very thankful for. But I want to hear a little bit more and let everyone know about how you started playing in Smite and your family, because there's some people that probably might not know that you've got another professional esports player in the families, but we can get into that in a minute. Talk to me about where you grew up and what you like to do as you were young.
Yeah, so I grew up in a small town called Antioch, and it's like on the border of Wisconsin and Illinois, with two brothers. And yeah, I like to play. The first game that I played was, I think I got a Nintendo 64, and I played the original Smash Brothers, and I think that's one of the first games I played, and then Mario Party as well. So there's a lot of that growing up.
Were you a Ganon main in the original Smash 64 like you were now?
No, I kind of just played whoever. I liked Fox actually a lot. I remember Fox and Donkey Kong. But
Okay.
now I like Ganon. That's the only thing I can kind of play, but not even really play him.
Hey, you're running it down, and that's fine. That's fine. It works in Smash sometimes as well. I know you're a big basketball fan. Did you play basketball at all growing up?
Yeah, so I played a little bit of basketball. I played during middle school. I played, I think, all 3 years of that. And then I played freshman year of high school and sophomore year of high school. And then after that, I kind of stopped. It was fun, but I didn't really have any friends on the team, like any close friends. And like, we were really bad. I think my high school team was like 0-28, like both seasons. And they took it a little too serious for being that bad. I think it was, if we had a little bit more fun with it, I probably would have played longer. But yeah, I actually ran cross country freshman year as well, believe it or not, which is funny. Funny story. I don't know if I ever shared it with the Smite audience before. Is that freshman year of high school when I ran cross country, I came in dead last in every single cross country race.
Every single one, huh?
Every single one. Because I was a 250-pound freshman that ran cross country. Because I was
Holy
gonna
cow.
play football. So originally I was gonna play football, and I wanted to play defense, but my coach would only put me on offense, so I just quit because he wouldn't put me on defense. So I was like, screw this, I'm gonna go do so. Because I didn't even like football that much. Like, I liked it, but I was always more of like a basketball person growing up and stuff. So I wanted to just play basketball. So I was like, you know what, screw this. I'll just run cross country, get in shape for the basketball season. I lost 50 pounds and I was 200 pounds going into the basketball season. So it worked out really well, actually.
Yeah.
But I came in
Sounds
dead
like it.
last every single race. It was so funny. They used to call me football player as well. That was like my nickname for the cross country team.
But you had just quit football. You weren't even the football player.
The best part is that both the teams, like, they would finish racing, and I would come for like my third lap on like some of like, I just remember coming in for the third lap, and they thought I was done. Like, my own team thought I was done. I'm like, I still have to go another lap. Like, I'm like, I have one more. Like, I was just like, one more, and everybody's cheering like I was done with the race, and I had to go again. There's so many funny things I remember about that. It was so bad.
Unlucky.
Oh
That's
my
all
God.
that is.
But
Little bit
it was
unfortunate.
great. It was awesome. I had a lot of fun doing it, even though I was terrible, and it got me. And it really taught me how to run. Like, I can long distance run. I don't know
Yeah.
about now. I'm so out of shape right now. I haven't been doing anything during this quarantine, which is bad, but whatever. But I feel like I can get out there and probably still run 3 miles. Not very fast, maybe, but I could still probably do it, even with being out of shape. Just because of cross country, like, you learn how to run,
Yeah.
and you have it forever. I feel like so. It was a good
Definitely.
experience.
Yeah, catch me dying on mile one, so I will not be out there with you. But your mental must have been forged in the fires of an 0-28 basketball team and then finishing last in every single cross-country race. No wonder you're an F7 warrior, man. You're never down to F6, and now it makes total sense.
Yeah, that's funny. I guess, yeah, maybe that's where it comes from a little bit.
Could be. Are you? I actually don't even know this. Your brothers? Are you the middle child, older, younger? Where are you in that?
So I'm the oldest, but if you look at my brothers, I look like the youngest, and my youngest brother looks like the oldest. So it's really funny. Like whenever we go to like a family gathering, and like there's or just any gathering whatsoever, and there's new people there, and we get introduced. Everybody always thinks I'm the youngest brother out of the three, and everybody thinks the youngest one's the oldest. It's funny. Like if you look at a picture, you can kind of get it. My middle brother who plays League, he looks older than me for sure, and then my youngest brother
Mm-hmm.
now, I think for sure looks way older than me as well. So, but that's just how it goes, I guess. I'm not complaining either. It's a good thing,
No,
I feel like. So,
definitely. Definitely, absolutely. That's going to serve you well as you get older, for sure. So, did you guys all play games together growing up? I mean, you mentioned Smash and Mario Party and that kind of stuff. Were you guys all three always gaming?
yeah. So, I thinking about it now, I don't know if I ever gave any good. There's another good thing. We only had one computer. Like when we got our first PC, I
Mm.
remember. Oh my god, I just thought about it now. We had AOL internet. I remember dial-up internet,
Yep.
and I remember my cousin got World of Warcraft like in like 2004, 2005, like when it came out originally, and I played it, and I'm like, and I remember I played it, I didn't like it very much, but then I kept playing it, I got more into it. And this is WoW was probably my first like PC game. Like I played like Halo 2, I played Call of Duties, I played like Smash, Mario Party. I played all the console games you could imagine growing up.
Sure.
But I never played any PC games until World of Warcraft, which was like in 2004. And I remember the only computer we had was some really bad Dell computer, and it was terrible. Um, I remember downloading the game. It took like 2 days to download it because it was like on dial-up internet, and like the
Yep.
computer installing it also took a really long time because the computer was so slow. And I remember we finally got it. And I remember it was just like 10 FPS, and we were just playing. And I remember I made a night elf druid, and today I still even play that character. The same character I made back then is still the character I play now, which is funny. It's cool.
Wow.
So, um, I made a night elf druid, and there's like big hubs where you can go where there's a lot of players, and the computer was so bad that if you went to the main hub of the game, you couldn't even play, and it would just DC you. So we had to call my cousin to go train our abilities and stuff because we couldn't even walk into the cities. It was so bad. It was so funny. But
Man.
yeah, but we only had one computer, so me and my two other brothers had to all share one computer,
Mm-hmm.
and it stayed like that for like a couple years. Like I remember, another funny story is we all wanted to play so bad all the time, but so we had to take turns, and we would just watch
Mm-hmm.
each other play too. But one time, my brother wanted to play so bad, he got a Guitar Hero guitar and started smacking me with it to get me off the computer. That's something really funny. I always think that's a funny thing.
Man.
And
It was
yeah,
cutthroat.
we just always wanted to play. And then, um, one Christmas, I think we got a laptop, and it was really bad as well. And we still had a bad computer with a bad laptop, but at least two of us could play now. And I remember
Sure.
just, and then when I'm trying to think when my first good computer was. So I think 2009, 2000, or no, it was 2008, 2009, like around there. I think I got my first like pretty good computer,
Mm-hmm.
and the only PC game we still played was really WoW. I didn't really try anything else. But I think the end of 2009, I started watching this guy on YouTube called Cold Turkey something. I've heard some numbers at the end of his name, and he played League of Legends when it originally came out in like 2009. I remember I watched him play like for like 6 months before I downloaded it myself. I would just watch his videos, and I wouldn't even play. Like me and my brothers would just watch his videos, and we wouldn't even play the game. We just would watch his League of Legends videos. And we were like, "This game's cool." I remember he always played Tarek, and old Tarek was cool. He had like a
Uh-huh.
heal, he had a stun, and he had
Yep.
like an armor like buff as well. and yeah, we just watched him play, and then we eventually downloaded it. And I remember, I think by the time we downloaded it, we had three computers, so all three of us were playing at the same time. And I remember queuing up, and I would play Singe. My brother would play Timo. That's my middle brother, and my youngest brother would play Heimerdinger. And we would go like
Oh
Singe
my
Timo
god.
bottom lane with Heimerdinger mid. It was so funny, and we would just yeah, and we just played a bunch of that. And then fast forward 2 years, that's when Smite came out. I remember I used to
Mhm.
watch. So like after I played League, like League kind of opened up the world of like other games on that isn't just WoW. Like I literally
Mhm.
just played WoW. Like my second ever game on PC was League. Like I'd still play like a bunch of different console games, but I would never play
Right.
any other PC games. And I remember after playing League, I'm like, oh wow, that's a lot of fun. So I started trying other games, and then I started watching this guy on YouTube called Mike B, and he did a show called the BFF Report, and I forget what episode it was, um, but you can look it up. It's still there. You can still watch it. I remember he had the BFF report for Smite, and it was really early on in Smite. It was like 2012. I remember. So
Mhm.
whatever day that BFF report came out is the first day I played Smite. I downloaded it right after I watched that video, and I played it with both my brothers. And
Mm.
oh my god, I had so much that like you get feelings about certain games, and it hasn't happened to me in a long time. Like World of Warcraft was well, actually no, that's a lie. Halo 2 was probably the first game where I felt like this game's awesome, and like I just would think about it literally 24/7 and play it
Yep.
all the time and just try to get better. And then I played WoW, same thing. And then um it was kind of those two were, I guess, were in the same around the same era though. And then um after WoW, League of Legends came around, and I would always think about that. And then Smite came out, and it was literally the perfect game for me because I really liked World of Warcraft a lot, and I really liked League of Legends a lot. And those games both had like I had the same feeling for both the games, and it was kind of
Sure.
just like a mix of them together, like perfectly, like because you got to move with your keyboard, and then it still had the MOBA aspects of League of Legends, and I just loved the idea of it. And man, people were so bad. I remember we would
Yeah.
dominate every single game. Like I would play jungle on the old map. I would play Vamana jungle.
Mhm.
Um, I would play Odin jungle, and I would literally just run around the map and pick up all the buffs. I remember my build was boots, frostbound, whatever the frostbound was called, and soul eater
Mhm.
back then, like on all the gods.
Oh
And
yeah, that
then
old Soul Eater.
I also played a lot of Arachne as well. Like that was the first character I guess I was really known for. Like, and then I remember I was talking about on the interview with Finch the other day. Guan Yu came out. That was the first God
Mhm.
release in Smite. I remember I played like 10 games or something. We were just queuing all day. I literally didn't lose a game, and I died one time I think in like 10 games because he was so broken. It was literally domination. Literally every game was great. Just running around picking up all the buffs. The HP 5 buff was so
Oh yeah.
broken. Like if you
Green
had
buff.
that, you can literally 1v3. It was great. And yeah, so Smite was I started playing Smite pretty early on, and yeah, just I really enjoyed it. And
Yeah.
both my brothers also played it with me. Um, but my other brother ended up liking League of Legends more, and now he does that, and he's been doing that for um, since 2014, I think. So he's been around the league scene. So it's cool to have somebody else like in the esports scene, I guess, that we can talk to each other
Yeah.
and just discuss the differences of the league and of like practices and just everything. So it's cool to get like another perspective, like in another game.
Yeah, I don't
Um,
know if everyone would know that about you. That your younger brother is an LCS pro, has been in the LCS before, played a little bit
yep.
there this year as well. So which one of you started getting paid to play your respective game first? Was it him or you for Smite?
So technically, it was me actually, because of season one Smite.
Mm.
But back then it was a lot different. Like unless you made it to
Yes.
Worlds and won, you wouldn't really make that much. So it wasn't really like a living.
Hmm.
I think I around like 20, like season 3, season 4, I guess is when when it started getting pretty good, like where you could kind of say you were kind of making somewhat of a living from Smite. So around then, I feel like that's when I started making like real money from Smite.
Hmm.
Um, and then if from pro competition, I guess I was the first one, but he probably started making like real money before me, like where you can
Sure.
like actually live off it.
Your parents must have been like, man, why doesn't every kid just do this? I mean, they've got two of their three kids, making really good money playing video games in two different ones. The Jackson household must have been filled with Q slamming and ranked all day long. What were your parents' reactions for both you and eventually your brother as well, trying to take it really seriously and make a career out of it?
Yeah, so I don't think either of my parents really liked it that much at first, but my mom became more supportive of it. My dad, it took him a little bit longer to get on the train of it, but I think once my brother started making like really good money when he got into his first team is when my dad really realized that it was a real thing. But before that, he did not like it at all. So, but yeah, my brother moved out when he was 17 to California, which is
Mm,
crazy.
yeah.
Yeah. Um, that was 4 years ago now. So yeah, no,
Wow.
that was insane. Yeah, he was the first one to move out, and he moved out. He didn't even he moved out. That was his junior year of high school, and he just moved to California and started doing it. So it was crazy. Um, I remember when he got it was Thanksgiving, and that's when I guess a lot of the like the league scene does like their contract signings like around that like couple week period. But
Hmm.
Kiki and Shawaz were at my house. They're just hanging out. They came down because I'm really good friends with them, and it was just funny because we were all hanging out, and my brother just comes downstairs, running, yelling, "Oh my god, I got offered by this team. They want to sign me.
That's
They want
awesome.
to." It was awesome. So that's a really good memory that I have, and my mom was just really nervous because he had to move out, and she was not looking forward to that. But then he ended up doing it, and it all worked out in the end. So it was good.
Yeah, absolutely. I
Yeah.
think that's very fair to say that it worked out in the end. So you've been in part of the Smite scene for as long as there has been competitive. I mean, you always have found your way onto a team in one way or another. Do you remember your very first competitive team? What the first team you started playing with was?
Yeah. So I didn't play in the early weekly tournaments because I didn't. I don't know. I never really liked a lot of the players in ranked. Like oh my god, original Zap man. Another story that's funny is that so my one friend that I grew up with, I would go to his house and bring my laptop, and we would
Hmm.
literally sit in his basement and play Smite for like 12, 14 hours a day, like all summer long, basically. And we had so much fun. He would play Afro, I would play Ares, and we literally run Afro Ares lanes and just destroy everybody. And I remember rank came out, and it was only solo queue, so we couldn't queue together in the original
Hmm.
ranked, and that's also when there was no servers as well. So, or no, it was just random servers. So you would either get NA or EU,
Right.
depending. Like, it would get more like it depended on the time of the day, and it depended on how many players were queuing from each region and stuff. But so we were like, okay, I'm like, I was already playing ranked a little bit, like by myself, but he didn't really want to play ranked because he liked just queuing with me. And he was good too, like he was really really good because we played a lot. And
Hmm.
I'm like, just queue. Let's just both queue at the same time. And so we queued. I got against them. It was like Zap and him and just some other people. There was probably some other names back then they you can remember as
Sure.
well. Um, and then it was me and whoever. But we ended up winning, and Zap was brutal in ranked back then. So
Oh yeah.
a lot of the original players were pretty brutal. I remember I blocked a majority of them. Like I just muted them because I was like, I'm not gonna listen to them yelling at me the entire game because I felt like I was playing pretty good like back then. So I just never really got along with like I guess the top end players. It was not until more like towards end of season one where I just started unblocking a bunch of them. But I had a majority of them blocked because they would just complain like all game long and you would get mad at people and it was really funny. So but he got really mad at my friend for like I forgot what happened exactly, but my friend's like, I'm never playing ranked again. And Zap literally made my friend never play ranked again, and I always tell him that story, and I just find it so funny.
Man, what could have
But
been? He could have been on the
yeah,
team with you and Zap later on. Who knows?
yeah. No, yeah, he was laughing after we won in season 5. He's like, man, that's so funny that we used to play all the time, and yeah, I just
Absolutely.
did not like ranked.
So who are your first 4 that you did get along well enough with to start playing with them consistently?
I'm trying to think. I think
See
the
if it's here.
first oh no, so yeah, I did have a team. Um we played in the qualifier for the PAX tournament. I
Okay.
think that the tournament that Pon Zap and I had to think for a second actually. Pon Zap and whoever I think Best was on that team maybe too. Who they won that
Okay.
PAX tournament. It was a team with
Yeah.
Pon and Zap, but I think Best was on there. And then I think like Sparks maybe or something. I don't remember their
Yeah.
fifth.
Sparks sounds
Yeah,
right. I think that was who was supporting for him at the time. I don't know who their solo lane would have been,
yeah.
but
But
yeah, an
anyways,
old squad. Yep.
so there was a qualifier for that tournament. I forget how many teams were in like the main PAX tournament. Um, but there was an open bracket for the last spot of the tournament, and we made it to the finals. And so what happened was is kind of took a break from Smite. I was playing a little bit like I was playing it a little bit, but I was also still playing League and WoW. And I think
Hmm.
that tournament that I came back to play in really got me like super into it again. Um, but I remember they needed a player to play because I met um, I still remember Scott, um, Kalos, um, Death to Peanuts or Failure by Design, which is my good friend Greg.
Hmm.
I met him 2 years ago. And then who's the fourth? I'm trying to remember. Frosh. And Frosh still stops by my stream from
Mm.
time to time. Says hi. It's funny. I think he subbed to me, so Frosh is a good dude. And then the last and final person works for Hi-Rez now, and it was Chaos.
Okay.
So yeah, so that was we had like a group of like 5 or 6, and we would always just queue like us, like whoever was on. We had like six guys. That was like the original group that I'd play with, and how I met them was I was playing old Ao Kwang in a game I remember, and I was against a couple of them, and the game was probably the longest Smite game I ever played. It was like 100 something minutes, like 110 minutes,
Oh
and
my
the game
God, are you
couldn't
serious?
end, and I was playing. We both had Ao Kwang on each team, and both teams would Ao Kwang all, and it would kill both teams basically instantly. So no one could end. So we literally just kept walking up mid, killing each other, or like at the old fire giant pit, killing each other. So no one could end the game. That was probably like one of the longest Smite games I ever played.
I'd
So
hope
like, yo,
so.
do you want to play like after that game? So then I became friends with them, and that's how I started playing with them. And then that PAX tournament came along, and they were playing. One of them couldn't make it, and they really wanted to play in it. And they needed a fifth, so they were like, "Yo, let's play." And I've played with them a lot, so
Hmm.
um, yeah, we made it to the finals, and I think we played against Pain Deviande's team in the finals, and
Hmm.
we ended up losing like in game 3 or something, or we won a couple games. I remember it was close, and the last game was super close, and we just barely lost that set to them.
Hmm.
Um, and yeah, and then from there on, I think I played with Kiki and Harry GN and who else was on that team? I don't remember who the fifth was, but I played with them as well, and that's when I met Kiki. And then after that, um, I think I played with Down to Frag a little bit, and then season one was Fat Chunks, then
Yep.
then Cog, then Eager, and then you know where it goes from there, basically.
Yep.
So, but yeah, no, it
That
was
was
great.
those were the beginnings. Those were the beginnings back then. I think I think so many people when they think about your career trajectory, they think of you always being a focal point of whatever team you're on, whether by design or not. I think that for my money, you probably have the most unique play style of any player in the league in the sense that here's a better example of what I'm trying to say. If I were to go to the 7 other SPL supports in the league and say, man, Yamojo, right? Crazy good character. They would all be like, yeah, she's pretty good. If I say there have been so many times where I come up to Aurora and I say something that I think is unquestionably true, like, hey, Yamoja's pretty good, and then Aurora, for example, in this situation would be like, yeah, I think she's okay. Yeah, I don't think she's that good. And I'm like, what? Everyone else is saying this character is so good in your role, but Aurora just always seems to think a little bit outside the box. That's just an example, of course, but like that is what I think about when I think about your style and your teams is that you always seem to think a little bit differently than everybody else. Do you think that comes from your background in a whole bunch of different games previously, or do you think that's just the way that it's kind of ended up for you?
Yeah, no, for sure. Oh, one other game. Since you brought that up, I also played, which you play a lot, is Magic the Gathering, and that's not really
Yep.
like a PC game. That's why I didn't really bring it up. But that's another game that I played a ton, and I started playing that. Trying to think when I was 14. So that's what 11 years ago. So 2009, 2008, 2009, around there is when I
Mm-hmm.
started playing Magic, and like I've always been a fan of strategy in games and like just trying to figure things out and trying to do things differently and try to make them work. And I've always enjoyed that. Like I always enjoyed thinking about the game, just different games in multiple ways instead of just trying to think baseline. So, and I feel like that game's a game that if you can do that, you can really get a lot. You can get a lot of mileage out of that game and have a lot of fun with it. So. And I feel like
Definitely.
it goes for anything, really. Even not if you do that with things outside of games and even real life, like you can think about things differently and get different things out of them. So
Absolutely, and I think a lot of the people would think about your season 3 run with Eager in particular, where you guys were running things that were very, very different from the meta. I remember a whole lot of talk about what your start and your strat was going to be at the very beginning of season 3 Worlds and all that kind of stuff, and you end up running this like Anubis mid where you proxy between tier 1 and tier 2 at the very beginning of the game, all that kind of stuff. But I had to ask you about one of the most famous clips that we run all the time in the SPL was you tackling Zap whenever you guys qualified for Worlds season 3. Do you remember prepping for that set and how good it felt to be able to actually qualify?
yeah, no, I remember prepping for that set, and I was so happy to qualify because that was my first Worlds I ever got to go to as a player. I got to go season two as a caster and commentator, and it made me really, really want to play at Worlds. And I felt like season two, like if you go back and watch our set against Cog, I feel like we could have easily won that set, and I was really disappointed that we didn't. We got swept 3-0, but we had leads in all three games, and we
Mm.
had really good um, like starts and plans in all the games, but we just weren't able to execute and finish the game off. So I was just extremely happy that we were finally able to qualify season three.
I think it showed.
And
Yeah, I think it
yeah,
showed. And Zap was on the receiving end. Does he still give you some crap about that? You crushing him?
I don't know. I think it's a good memory for him. I don't know though. I haven't
Absolutely.
talked to him
I
about it
think it is too.
recently. Yeah.
Hey, I'm sure he wasn't too upset. You guys had a really good run that year. Lost in the semifinals to Obey, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it was we went we lost the first two games and then we won the next two games and we lost in game 5, which kind of sucks. I felt like if we played against any other team other than Obey, I think we would have had a really good shot. Like even NRG, I feel like Obey's strategy was so good back like in that Worlds. Like they just had a different strategy as well. Like we had one, and I feel like it matched up really well against us. If any team played against us, like how all the like just like the standard of the tournament, if we matched up against any of the other teams, I feel like we would have had a really good shot. But I also, it sucks looking back on that. I got really sick, and I feel like I didn't get to prep with the team as much as I wanted to, and I felt like that hurt us a ton. I know I didn't really talk about it that much back then because I don't like making excuses. But now looking back on it, I feel like if we were able to prep more, I feel like our drafts and maybe our starts back then would have been a little bit better because I just couldn't really do anything. I remember the day before we played, so we just kind of went into it with what we already knew.
Yeah,
but that Worlds was a lot of fun.
Sick.
Yeah, I remember after we played one of the Chinese teams back then when they were still playing at Worlds, and we won game 1, and I turned to Best, and I'm like, there's like tears and like snot coming out of my nose, and I'm like, nice, and Best is like, turn back around. It was so funny.
Don't look at me like that, man. That is really funny. Yeah. But hey, you get another shot a little bit later on. I mean, obviously, season 5 winning in that moment for Splice, such a crazy sort of season that was for you guys. Spring split, you're dead last in NA if I remember correctly, despite some close games. Summer split, you get to 3rd, almost qualify for that top 2 LAN. And then you guys get red hot through fall all the way through to the end of the World Championships. What are some of your biggest memories from Season 5?
Yeah, that team was awesome. I feel like early on, that year was, for me, was a hard year for like decisions. I remember I had to make a lot of really hard decisions. Like we opened up the year, we had Yuji jungle. I remember it wasn't really working out. We scrimmed with him a ton, and we ended up going with Sino after like a couple months, and that worked out really well. He played extremely well, I feel like, the entire year. And the first phase that year, we took, I don't think we had, I think we got swept, I think, once, but every other set, I think it was double round robin, went to 3 games. And I remember, I think we were 1-2, and it was the week we played. I think they were they LG still back then, or what were they called? Yeah.
Which roster? LG was in the league then.
Or no, it was Space Station. Yeah, they're Space. It was the Barracuda.
The Barra team.
Baskin
then
roster.
Yeah, it was Space Station. Yeah.
Space Station. Yeah, they were Space Station then, I guess. So we had the week against Space Station United. I remember, and I think Space Station, we went to game 3, and I can't remember if it was Space Station or United, but it was one of the sets. We went to game 3. Cyclone was Uller, and they had a Daji, and I think his beads were down, and we were up by their speed buff, and he got pulled, and we ended up losing the game. And I remember we were in a winning position that game, and I feel like if we could have beat, and then that was definitely against Space Station, I'm pretty sure. And we ended up losing that set, and that's fine. We went and played United, and then the first game was really close, I remember. And then I think I played RDO game 2, like again, I think Scream was playing Susano, and I remember we had a really good game. We ended up beating them game 2, and then game 3 I think was really close again. Maybe it wasn't. I don't remember exactly for game 3, but I remember that set was close, and I felt like if we could have won either of those sets that first phase, it would have gave us the momentum to at least make a good run towards the LAN for that phase. But we ended up losing both of those. And then I think we we lost a couple more games that were really close the rest of the phase, and we ended up having, I think we were last place that phase. But we should have definitely won a couple of those sets, I feel like. And if we could have gotten a couple of the early ones, I feel like we would have got some momentum to make a good push. Yeah. So I remember after that phase, I know we didn't do very well, like in terms of standings, but we all knew we were a good team, and Kabam gave us a really good opportunity to go meet up in person and play on better ping, because we had Divios and Cyclone, who were like truly West Coast. Like Cyclone was 120 ping, Divios was 130 ping, and then Sino is like half West Coast. Like he was playing on like 80 to 100 ping every game. So
Yeah.
we got to go to New Jersey, and we got really good ping there. I think we had like wherever the servers were back in season 5 were perfect for that New Jersey house that we were in because we had literally 20 ping, and that's probably some of the best ping I've ever had of Smite, like ever.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And
Besides land, that's as good as you're getting.
yeah, no, it was great. Like we had insanely good ping, and it just gave us a lot of confidence in our game, and we ended up playing really well. Um, Unfortunately, like it was good. Like that's all we needed. We had to leave early, so we didn't get to play our last 2 sets on the ping there,
Hmm.
and we played SSG for the last land spot. I remember for in the last week, and if we beat them, we would have qualified to go to the land.
Yep.
And I think we took one game off them. And I remember I was playing Sylvanas in one of the games. I think I stole fire, and we were having a really good game, and we ended up losing it. And then they qualified, but we were so close, so we knew we had what it took to play at like the highest level. So we
Right.
were all really confident going into the last phase. Well, maybe not really confident, but I personally, I don't know how everybody else felt. Personally, I knew we could be really good, and we ended up having a really good run. Um, we ended up second place. We got to auto qualify into Worlds, and um, we boot camped in Rochester, New York, at the Splice headquarters. That was a lot of fun. That was it. I enjoyed hanging out with everybody there and having a bunch of fun, but that boot camp was rough. We had not the greatest PCs, and on top of that, we were playing on throttled internet, so we were getting like 100 to 120 ping, and we were using WT fast. I remember we were able to get it down to like 90 ping, so it was like playable, but that was rough. We had like 20 to 30 FPS in team fights with high ping, so we ended up losing a lot of games. Um, but we learned a lot, and we were scrimming a lot. I remember we were doing double blocks, and I think the last week before Worlds we even did a couple triple blocks, and
Mm.
that year was fun. That was like we were all over the place. We were in New Jersey, we were in New York, and then we were in Georgia for the last LAN. That
Yep.
was a lot of traveling for me that year. I remember, and I went to go visit my brother. But yeah, no, that was fun. Like that team was a lot of fun. I remember.
Yeah.
Um, I really enjoyed talking to Divios about the game. He has a really good mind for the game. I feel like a lot of people don't know that probably watch him. The way he thinks about the game is different as well, and I really enjoy talking to people that can think outside the box more than just this is what everybody's playing. That means it's good. Like you
Right.
try to figure out what's good, what's bad with your own opinion, and I really enjoyed that about playing with him. And Sino the same thing. Like he whatever he thinks is good, he's gonna play. He's not gonna really. He'll look like everybody looks at what everybody else is playing, and they'll definitely
Sure.
take some of the stuff. But I think everybody on that team had their own opinion on what was good and what was bad, and I really enjoyed that with that team. But that also could be bad sometimes. But I think it's more good than bad a majority of the time for sure.
Definitely, definitely. I remember when I had talked to Cyclone about that actual World Championship run in that finals up against Rival. He told me that when you guys got that draft game 5, you knew it was over. I mean,
Yeah,
that draft you guys got was really good. Did you feel that same way? Like even loading into game 5 that you had it nearly in the bag?
yeah. No, we knew it was over. I mean, the thing with that team is that we had the style that we wanted to play, and we were all really good at it. Like we had our game plan, and we just executed it on it. I feel like perfectly. And the other thing is that it was really hard to draft against us. I feel like
Yep.
in the history of all the Smite teams, if you go and play against that team and you try to draft against us, it's literally impossible. We're gonna get the comp we want every single game, no matter what you ban, because like we all had our picks that we wanted, Like Maswal was playing Zeus and Outwash, and that's what most teams
Yep.
targeted. But we also had Cyclone playing Freya, Sino's famous Najah, Divios had Geb, Terra. He also had I forget what other picks he had, but he had a couple other picks, and then like I would just play Artio and Fenrir, and like sure target if you want to target somebody out, go ahead, but we're gonna get what we want. The rest of the team's gonna get what they want every single game. And like Moswell, the thing was that I feel like the biggest advantage we had in that event, like the European teams didn't really do their homework on Moswell, I feel like. And like
Mm.
they just thought he could only play two characters. But Moswell, if you ever see Moswell play, Moswell literally can play anything. He's so good at
Yep.
like Smite. And like back then he was insanely good. Um, and they just got punished for banning those gods. I feel like against us because Maz was like, okay, I'll just play Raijin or Agni or Vulcan. Like the Maswell's known for his Vulcan. Like
Yep.
he's not really known for his Outwash and Zeus. He's actually I feel like he's more known for like his Thoth and Vulcan. Like those
I
are
was gonna
like
say
his
Thoth.
signature
Yeah.
gods. Yeah.
Yep.
So, but that's he just picked those up when we started when we were playing for that worlds because it just worked out really well with what we wanted to do and he was able to play those gods at a really high level, so it helped out a lot.
It was unbelievable to watch that run for sure. Definitely a great story. You had so much family there, and everyone jumped up. I remember kind of alongside you. That was a very loud pro spliced crowd at that event. I'm sure it must have felt really good to be able to win in front of your family and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, all my friends
yeah, go
came
ahead.
too. It was great. Yeah, no, I think I invited like 20 over 20 something people there and they all showed up.
Yep.
It was great. It was fun. And all my friends came, a bunch of my family came, and it was definitely a lot of fun. It's definitely something that I feel like none of us will ever forget. It was definitely a good time.
Absolutely. That'll be a memory for sure. Real quick, because we are running out of time, no surprise. But oh, excuse me. Um, what what is left that you still really want to do in Smite? Because you've won a world championship, you've solidified yourself among the best supports to ever do it, in some of the best players in Smite's history. What still drives you to play now in season 7?
Um, the biggest thing I guess is I like the game like a lot. Like I just like playing it. Like I have a lot of fun playing Smite still, which is I guess surprising maybe for some people, but I feel like if I didn't like the game as much as did, like I probably wouldn't be playing it anymore, but I just really enjoy playing it and I love to win as well. Like I'm just really competitive and I want to win another one really bad. I feel like that's what everybody wants. They just want to win worlds. Like even if you have one, you just want to win it again. And if you don't have one, you want to win your first one. And if you have two, like some people, you want to win it 3 times. So I feel like that's just what it's all about. I definitely want to keep getting better as well. Um, this year's been rough for me, I feel like, but I feel like I've been battling and just trying to improve, and I think things are going to get better. And I'm really excited for Worlds. Like it's just going to be a good time, even no matter what happens with however the format is, with wherever the venue's at. I think the games are going to be great no matter what, and I'm really looking forward to it.
I don't think you're alone in that. I think all of us are. Thanks so much for taking the time, man. As always, love to get a chance to talk to you. You got any shout outs you want to give before we let you go?
Yeah, shout outs to Radiance for coming in middle of the season, or it was like I guess a little bit after the season started, but they came in and picked us up um, really fast. I feel like they've done a good job at giving us what we need and just being a great org, and I really appreciate them for that. Shout outs to all the fans that are sticking with us. I know we had a little rough streak there, but I feel like we're starting to turn it around now. And shout outs to all my friends and family that watch the games. I really appreciate them a lot, and it means a lot to me that I have such a supportive group behind me. And shout outs to Hi-Res for still doing this after what season are we on? Season 7, right?
Season 7, yep. Season
That's
7.
crazy to think about, right? Man, 7 seasons of this, and I feel like this is as a lot of people who've said that work for hires, this is the best year of Smite yet, and I can't disagree with them. There's so much cool things that have come to the game, and there's so much cool things that are still coming. So I'm excited. I'm looking forward to Worlds. I'm looking forward to all the new stuff that comes out, like the new Battle Pass with the Ninja Turtles. That's awesome. And then
Yep.
just having the Avatar Battle Pass this year, which was really cool as well. So no, I'm just looking forward to things in Smite. So that's about it.
You and me both, man. Still the best is yet to come for Smite. I firmly believe that. Thanks so much for the time as always, and thanks to you at home for watching. As always, let us know down in the comments who you want to see on the next episode of Player Spotlight.